Hiya friends, it's Ellen, and welcome back to my channel of Through Their Eyes. And for today, I'm going to go a different direction of what I usually do, and we're going to talk about the deaths of Harry Potter. And we're going to discuss whether or not the death of certain characters were key for the story, or were they just tearjerkers that had no impact on the story whatsoever. Now, let's start off with the big bad of the series, Lord Voldemort. As we're aware, he was the biggest threat throughout the whole series. There was never going to be any kind of peace or contentment as long as he was alive. So, of course, he had to die. There was no getting around it. It sucked for all the Tom Riddle fans out there, but unfortunately, Voldemort had to go. Next is Nagini, which, as we're aware, she was a Horcrux. So, unfortunately, she had to die in order for Voldemort to die. And as we've seen in Fantastic Beasts, she was a good person long time ago, but unfortunately, recently we've seen, at least with the Harry Potter series, that kind person she used to be is no longer there. Whether it's deteriorated because of her condition or from the years after her change, we're not sure at this point. Next is Bellatrix Lestrange. Now, I'm sure we all remember the iconic moment of her death, and I don't think anyone's registering whether or not she had to die for the series. Personally, I believe it's the same influence as Voldemort. As long as Bellatrix lived, she was never going to be at peace. She was always going to either try and serve Voldemort or she was going to try and get revenge for Voldemort. She was never going to stop. She was like a rabid dog that unfortunately had to be put down, and there was no hope for her. Now, next is Professor Quirrell. Now, for him, it's a little iffy because we don't know much about him before the possession of Voldemort taking him over. However, we see he's kind of the stuttering, shy mess that we've seen. But from that, do I think he needed to die? Yes, for the plot to continue forward, because we need to see proof of the damage that could be done to Voldemort from Lily's love. Unfortunately, Professor Quirrell was just a byproduct of that. Next is Gellert Grindelwald. Did he need to die in order to move the plot forward? Yes, because he told Voldemort that he no longer had the wand. Was it necessary for him to die? I think it's more of a power struggle. Voldemort killed him to prove he was better. Not necessarily that has to die. He's not a key player in the big thing of it. He was locked in Newmengard Castle. So there was nothing going on with him, unfortunately. Next is Barty Crouch Sr. Did he need to die? No. There was no continuance of the plot. There was no character building. No excuse for anything but Barty Crouch Jr. just getting revenge. There was nothing really needed for Barty Crouch Sr. to die. Next is Gregorovich, the Wandmaker. I apologize if I butchered that name. It was very hard. Did he have to die? No. I mean, we've seen Ollivander. He lived, but I guess Voldemort really wanted that information. And for some reason, he killed Gregorovich and not Ollivander, so I guess it's up in the air whether or not why he killed one and not the other. Maybe because he just didn't have the time. Who knows? Next is one Slytherin we were aware of, but was replaced later on. Vincent Crabbe. Did he have to die? No, in a sense. Like, his death didn't push other characters into action. Did that scene need to happen? Maybe, because it did destroy a Horcrux, so that helped continue on the plot. But Harry and the gang would have killed and destroyed the Horcrux anyway, so I don't really believe Vincent had to die in order for the plot to continue on, because the Horcrux would have been destroyed either way. I think it was just an accident of a not-so-bright boy deciding he wanted to be too big for his breeches. Now, a very unknown groundskeeper by the name of Frank Bryce. Did he have to die? No. He was in the wrong time, at the wrong place, and accidentally ran into Voldemort and his pet snake. There is no plot convenience. There was nothing for him to move on. There's no point of him dying. It was just the lash out, basically, of Voldemort's. Nothing you could do there, unfortunately. Next is someone called Charity Barbage. Again, I apologize if I butchered that name. I am horrible with names. She was a Muggle Studies teacher. And as either the books or the movies, we see she went through some horrible scenarios before she finally died. Do I think she had to die? Part of me believes yes, because as we are aware, she tried to beg Severus to save her. So I think it allowed it where it proved Snape's loyalty to Voldemort that he didn't help her. But at the same time, it's like, she's a Muggle studies teacher. I understand where Voldemort's hatred of Muggles could reflect on that. But did she die for some greater purpose? Not really. Now, one of the heartbreaking ones. Oh, this is killing my heart here, people. Cedric Diggory. Again, apologize with last names. I'm horrible with names. This was heartbreaking for me. I hated Goblet of Fire for this precise reason. I hated it. Unfortunately, he had to die. Cedric had a purpose. Even though a lot of people will say he did not have a reason to die. He was young. He had a life for him. I agree. He was young. He had a whole world in front of him. But the purpose of his death was the first drum of war. It was to shock everyone and be that symbol to Harry that this is real. This isn't just my life at risk anymore. This is everyone and anyone that I care for or other people care for can die. And I think that's what's most heartbreaking. Not only the loss and pain we hear in Cedric's parents, especially his dad's voice, but the agony it must be for Harry to realize that it's not just him at risk anymore. And like I said, that was that first war drum pounding away and raised that call. It caused Harry to start training his fellow classmates in order to make it where they can train and be strong enough to protect themselves that Cedric was never able to do. Next is Bathilda Bagshot. Did she have to die? No, I understand her reasoning for being there. She was to give an insight of the history of Dumbledore and Gellert. She's trying to explain past history could relate to current history. Did she have to die? Not really. She was an old witch. She had a fountain full of information, but she wasn't anything special in the long run. She was an older witch who probably wasn't that far off death herself. So unfortunately, she had no specific reason for dying, but I'm not too sad about her dying in the long run anyway. Next is Colin Creevey. When they say the good die young, this was heart-wrenching. Yes, I did not like Colin Creevey through the series. I'm sorry, you read too much of a stalker. That was just too creepy for me. But when I read that he died, it broke my heart. Because it's like, this small, innocent, bumble little boy died fighting for something that was not meant to be part of him. Now for his inspection, did he have to die? No. There was no solid reasoning behind it. Yes, I understand it means war could even claim young beings, young generations. But at the same time, he wasn't the war drum that Cedric was. He wasn't a victim of circumstance like Vincent was. He was just a young boy that chose to fight a battle that was not his. And I do not believe his death was one of the ones that had to be made. Same thing with Lavender Brown. Do I believe she had to die? No. She was annoying. I will agree 1,000% she was annoying, especially when she went through that whole wand phase. Oh, sweet posies, I do not know how anyone can deal with that. But did she have to die, especially with Fenrir Greyback? No, she did not have to die. She did not deserve to die. Even if she was annoying, she was not that annoying. She did not move the plot. She did not help our heroes. She had no reason of symbolism behind her death. We had the youngster get killed off with Colin Creevy. You did not have to take Lavender Brown. Just saying. Whew. Next is Hedwig. I hate this with a passion, especially in the movies, because it's so quick. You can blink and miss her dying. And yes, I understand that she symbolized the death of Harry's innocence. But come on. You do not have to kill someone's pet for that. I mean, Hedwig was the one thing of Harry's that kept him safe and happy. And to take that away in such a blimp of a moment, no. That was just all around wrong. There's 1,001 things you could have symbolized taking away his innocence. I mean, he watched Cedric Diggory die. That could cover for his innocence right there. He can now see the Thestrals. You do not have to take Hedwig. That was just cold. Next is Mad-Eye Moody. Him, I have to agree with that he did need to die. He was one of the older generation, the surviving warriors from the first Wizarding War. And with him, it showed a proof that even the most trained soldiers can die. This was war, and they took him out because he was a threat. So yes, I understand J.K. Rowling's reasoning for killing Moody. I don't like it, but I accept it. Next is Nymphadora Tonks. No, I do not believe she needed to die. Yes, I'm aware of the whole circle going around, Teddy needed to be an orphan, circle, whatever you want to call it. No, she did not need to die. There was no plot convenience. There was no reason for her to die whatsoever. Yes, there's plenty of orphans that could have happened going around. We've experienced enough parents dying. No, you did not need to take away little Teddy's mother when he was just born. No. Next, Remus Lupin. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate with this, but unfortunately, I believe Remus Lupin had to die. Yes, it covers the whole orphans of war thing again. But my thing is this. With Lupin throughout the series, we see him struggling with his condition of being a werewolf through the whole series from the moment we meet him. And I think that fear would have followed him forever. He would constantly be afraid of hurting Tonks or Teddy, or even worse, fearing that Teddy could be like him. And in all honesty, I think Lupin dying was something he needed. He would not have survived well in this world with that fear dragging him down. He would have been a lot better and happier in the afterlife with James and Sirius. Now, moving on to the other Marauder, Sirius Black. Did he have to die? No. In my opinion, he did not have to die. He was just another thing that was taken from Harry in order to make him lose his grasp more and more on reality. Because if Sirius was still alive, why in the world would Harry sacrifice himself? The point of the whole thing of Sirius dying was just to make another footstool for Harry to walk to his own death. He did not have to die. He could have had a happy life. He didn't have to die whatsoever. He didn't have to go through the weird glowing arch thing. No. His death was not okay. I'm not happy with it. He was the one Marauder that was happy and could have stayed alive. Next is Dobby. Talk about